From freshman phenom to cover king, Jeremiah Smith makes Ohio State history.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Hump Day edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And during today's show, we will discuss some players that would have been ideal candidates to be cover athletes for a college football video game, as well as a big basketball announcement. But first, after a 10-year hiatus, college football 25 was released, and we all got a video game that we have been waiting for quite a long time. Last year's cover athletes on that video game were Quinn Ewers, Travis Hunter, and Donovan Edwards. And I have been looking forward to getting the announcement about who the cover athletes would be for EA Sports College Football 26. And the wait is over. Jeremiah Smith becomes the first player in Ohio State football history to be a cover athlete for a college football video game. Now, he is on the cover with Ryan Williams, who's also the sophomore wide receiver who's down there playing at Alabama. But Jeremiah Smith, after his phenomenal freshman season, we will all be talking about third in 11 in the national championship, where Will Howard threw it to Jeremiah Smith, where it was one-on-one the entire time. Jeremiah Smith had to make a play, and he made that play. But that was just one of the big plays, one of numerous big plays that young man played during his freshman year. And I can't think of a better candidate on Ohio State after winning the national championship to be a cover athlete. And Jeremiah Smith, to me, we are all going to marvel and guess and project what he's going to be in his sophomore campaign. It's possible he's going to eclipse our expectations once again. Last year, going into the season, myself and other people were all talking about, Jeremiah Smith is a dog. He's going to be doing some amazing things. Projecting is one thing. Now, I only projected it because I had never seen him live. I heard so many people that I respect that cover high school recruiting that say, oh, no, he's a real deal. I mean, he's got the goods, man. I mean, if you want a guy in high school that you can project to be that dude on day one, to be a day one starter, that's Jeremiah Smith. And so I kind of bought into some of the things people are saying because I respected their opinion. But then you get him early in his career, early in the season last year, 2-touchdown game here, 2-touchdown game there. Oh, a one-hand catch against Michigan State. Oh, another on the same drive, which was a dart thrown by Devin Brown. Oh, one-hand catch for a tutty. Oh, man, Jeremiah Smith is amazing. But it wasn't just the acrobatics or the otherworldly things he was doing to catch the football. It was Jeremiah Smith just being different in the best way. The receiver that you really didn't have an answer for, unless it was maybe Texas, who maybe slowed Jeremiah Smith down in a way that nobody else did. But what happened? Ohio State still won by 2 touchdowns. So, yes, there was only one team, which is also the team Ohio State's playing week 1 in the fall, that figured out a way to slow him down. But even by doing that, the Buckeyes offense had enough firepower to have an upper hand in Texas' final drive of the game. Well, second to last drive of the game. I'm happy for this man. I am so happy. Thinking about the guys that have been at Ohio State that could have been cover athletes. There's a lot of them. We'll talk about them later in the show. But on this current team, I think there'd only be 2 people that I could even think that would be close to being worthy of being a cover athlete on this football game. And if I'm talking about a player, it's Jeremiah Smith or Caleb Downs. One of the two. And if you want to go with the older player in Downs over Smith, I wouldn't be mad at you. If you want to go with the guy who might be projected to be the better player at the end of his career when it's over, Jeremiah Smith, I won't be mad at that either. But Jeremiah Smith's the guy. Ryan Williams on the cover, I'm looking at it right now. Jeremiah Smith is kneeling down. Ryan Williams is behind them. Their helmets are by them as well on the ground. But then there's little flags, just like a quilt. Auburn's on there. Ohio State, Alabama, Notre Dame, Arizona State, Clemson, Michigan, LSU. And I say all those schools because on the deluxe edition cover, you're going to get a lot more of a great feel of what college football is all about. You have some coaches mixed in. You have some players mixed in. You have fans mixed in. You have mascots mixed in. You have flags from schools like Indiana, UCLA, West Virginia, LSU, and Michigan. The players that are on this deluxe edition cover for EA Sports College Football 26 are Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. Once again, they are front and center. And then you have Nicholas Singleton from Penn State, Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, DJ Lagway from Florida, Caleb Downs, Garrett Nussmeier, Sam Levitt, Bryce Underwood, Cade Klubnik is on there as well. Caleb Downs, a few coaches. You got Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, Dan Lanning, Lane Kiffin. Oh, I can't forget this. I don't know why his name escaped my mind. James Franklin. And then there's a bunch of fans that are around there. Really good cover. I think this deluxe edition, if you're one that's going to buy it, you're going to get a great feel of what college football is all about. And we all know about cover athletes, and mainly, over the past 10 years, 11 years, it's really just been the Madden cover. You try to figure out who's going to be on the Madden cover throughout the years. But this edition of it, I can't get mad at it. I can't get mad at it at all. And some of the other cover athletes throughout the history of the video game, I'm going to go through this, pull this up recently. Tommy Frazier was on College Football USA 97, the old Nebraska quarterback. Danny Warfel was in NCAA Football 98. That was EA Sports' first rendition of the game. Keep going down. Who was this other one? Charles Woodson, Ricky Williams, Sean Alexander when he was at Alabama, Chris Winkie. These are going to bring back the names for some of you guys. Joey Harrington, the old Oregon quarterback, Carson Palmer, Larry Fitzgerald, Desmond Howard. Now, there was a time when I saw this cover and come back across my my phone here, and I'm thinking that would have been a great year for an Ohio State player. I'm going to talk about that later on. But Desmond Howard was there in 06. Reggie Bush in 07 for the video game. Jared Zabransky, the old boy from Boise State that made some phenomenal plays to beat Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl that year. NCAA football 09, they say all play. Some of the other guys that were cover athletes, they have Michigan State's mascot on the Wii cover. And then you have Deshaun Jackson, Matt Ryan, Owen Schmidt from West Virginia, then Darren McFadden was a dog from Arkansas. Just getting a little bit of a gist to go through the history of the video game and the cover athletes. The last player that was on the cover before the game stopped was Denard Robinson. You know that name very well. Think about this. Jeremiah Smith is in the mix of all those guys of being cover athletes, along with Ryan Williams, Quinn Ewers, Travis Hunter, and Donovan Edwards as being when the game comes back. Those guys are along with that elusive group, that elite group. Now, going forward, before we close up shop on this very topic, I wonder if they'll go back to only having one player as a cover athlete like they had previously before they brought the game back in 2024. Because even in the years where they had a different player on the PS3 cover versus the PS2 cover versus the 360 cover, it was still one player per cover per system at that time. So let's just say Jeremiah Smith does it again. Does EA Sports College Football 27 have Jeremiah Smith on the cover by himself? There's never been a player to be a cover athlete twice. Even Reggie Bush, as great as he was, only once. I want to talk about in a few seconds some players that could have been on the ideal candidates to be cover athletes on the football side of things. And there's one Buckeye I'm thinking about that would have been an ideal candidate to be a cover athlete twice. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off, and with live player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're like me, you love trying to find a way to enhance your game day experience, especially in the NBA playoffs, as every game is intense. There's a lot riding on every shot. Head over to FanDuel. And if you are new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Once again, are you new to FanDuel? It's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank y'all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Cover athletes, man. Think about the history of this great sport with great players all around Ohio State's football program. We can even dabble into the basketball a little bit if there's time left in this segment. But I think about Ohio State football, some guys that weren't cover athletes. Some of them didn't even have a chance to be a cover athlete on a college football video game, but some of them would be ideal candidates to be cover athletes on a college football video game. And I mentioned in the last segment, there's one guy in my mind that could have been a cover athlete twice. And I mean, an ideal candidate more than any other player in Ohio State history, Archie Griffin, the only two-time Heisman Trophy winner in the sport. I don't think we can go any further in this conversation without saying if they had a video game back in his day, he would have been a cover athlete, and he should have been on that bad boy twice. He was a dog. No, I was not allowed to watch him play. I just know if you won the Heisman 2 times, you're a dog. And so if there's any guy out there that could have been that dude, I gotta give it to Archie Griffin to be the only guy I could think about that would have been a 2-time cover athlete. Probably should have been. Another one, let's keep going on a little bit in the history of the sport. Chris Carter, a little bit polarizing. Not as much polarizing in college as he was in the NFL. Also has some issues off the field that may have knocked him out of the running of being a cover athlete. However, I do think Chris Carter, you gotta give him a guy that would have been a great candidate. I'm not saying he would have been. I'm just saying a candidate. Another one. Let's go on a little bit. The 90s had a lot of great players. Eddie George won the Heisman. Was the 95 season. Duh. Got to put him on there. Joey Galloway. Duh. Got to put him on there. David Boston. I was going back and forth between this one. David Boston, Joey Galloway. When we're speaking of candidates, you have to put those names there. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to put those names there because both of those guys were so much fun to watch. Let's keep going on a little bit because I could just belabor this point for a very, 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 very long time. 2002, the Buckeyes went 14-0 en route to winning the 03 Fiesta Bowl to knock off the Hurricanes to win the national championship, the VCS national championship. Maurice Clarett, very similar as far as the hype that surrounded his name to Jeremiah Smith. It wasn't to the Jeremiah Smith level of hype, but there was a lot of attention, a lot of hype from the man, Maurice Clarett, to come into Ohio State and do big things. He came to Ohio State, set freshman rushing records, was big in rushing the ball, and even making a big old stop, a phenomenal stop. Sean Taylor catches an interception. Who goes over there to tackle him? Maurice Clarett. Who strips him of the ball and recovers the fumble that he caused? Maurice Clarett. So I think after that freshman year, if there weren't the legal things and if his head was on straight, Maurice Clarett would have been the guy. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It would have been Maurice Clarett. I'll keep going on. I'm going to the top of the dome here. Probably should have written some of this stuff down. Let me think. Troy Smith. I don't know why I'm trying to go a little bit further and go a little bit crazy. Troy Smith, won the Heisman. But even not just he played a position at quarterback that gets a lot of attention. And he was fun to watch, man. I mean, if you were a college football fan at that time, especially if you watched the game of the century, 1 versus 2, Ohio State versus Michigan, Thanksgiving weekend, the game kicked off at 3:30 Eastern. Kickoff times or keep being a talk of the town as Front Office Sports confirmed a report from 24/7 Sports that 24/7 Sports reported last week about Texas blocking Ohio State and playing Ohio State in primetime on Sunday night as Fox allowed that game to be pushed today and into a primetime spotlight. Texas said no. I do believe contractually, based on some things I've heard about Major League Baseball's contract with Fox, that Fox is not able to have a primetime college football game that day due to their obligations to the Major League Baseball. So that's a big reason why Fox is not probably will not give that game up to be in primetime. But Troy Smith, easy one. If you want to go defense in the 2000s under Tressel, James Laurinaitis. Now, I think a lot of the guys we have seen that have been cover athletes, they're running backs, they're receivers, they're quarterbacks. Off the top of my head, I don't remember a defensive player being on the cover. Even this year's deluxe edition, it's a bunch of running backs and quarterbacks and receivers. You don't really have guys on defense. But the only 3-time consensus All American that I can think about under Tressel, even Urban, or even under Day, why not give him a candidacy and make him put his own pitch together to be a cover athlete for the video game? Because just as great as Troy Smith was, James Laurinaitis was great as well, but he was great for a longer period of time. James Laurinaitis, keep going on a little bit. Braxton Miller, easy period. Braxton Miller was there. Let me keep going. I wouldn't say Cardale Jones, because I don't think what Cardale Jones did during a 3-game run was cover athlete worthy. It's worthy to get a story and worthy to be talked about, but I wouldn't say Cardale Jones. I would say JT Barrett is a candidate after maybe the 2016 season, even though his best passing season was when Day was the OC in the 2017 season. Ezekiel Elliott, I can't go past what he did in 2014. Talking about a phenomenal 3-game run. Cardale Jones' run in the playoff was phenomenal. Big Ten Championship, 2 playoff games. Ezekiel Elliott's was better. 100% better. And I think at the end of the 2014 season, especially after the Buckeyes winning the national championship, the only guy I really would have given great consideration to would have been Ezekiel Elliott. And then he backed it up. I believe the very next year, 2015, I think he had 1,800 rushing yards. I forget the single season number he had in 2014. 2015, homie went off. Absolutely smooth off, even as disgruntled as he was after the Michigan State loss in 2015 with the way that some of the play calling went. He still played, and he was still a dog. So I think after the 2014 season, the Buckeyes won the Natty, if the game was still out, Ezekiel Elliott would have been the ideal candidate, and there would have been an uproar in college football if Ezekiel Elliott was not the candidate, was not named the cover athlete there. Let's fast forward a little bit, see time's getting away from us. Joey Bosa on defense, once again, probably wouldn't get it, but he's a candidate. If Nick Bosa would have completed the 2018 season, if he did not have that abdominal injury against TCU in week 2, I think after the 2018 season, Joey Bosa would have been there. Chase Young at the 2019 season, enough said. Homie was a dog, a straight animal out there. You got Justin Fields. I'll probably give it to Chris Olave just for the longevity. Was a Buckeye longer. But Garrett Wilson is also another candidate. J.K. Dobbins, another candidate. Stroud, another candidate. Got Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs. Travion Henderson? Yeah, I won't say candidate because he had the national notoriety and attention. And so it's not so much that his production matched the hype, because there were times that his hype was higher than the production he was producing. So I don't want to be that guy to say, oh, he was producing like the hype he was getting. No, honestly, at times he wasn't, which wasn't his fault. He had injuries that cut his season short in the 2022 season, 2023 season. I don't even think he played every game in 2021 his freshman year. Don't remember that off the top of my head, but those are some of the guys. And that was also off the top of the dome. Who are some guys you think would have been ideal cover athletes for a college football video game? And if you just kept it in the Ryan Day era, who would it have been? I mean, after this past season, I think the only 2 guys you really want to give it to, especially the guys that are still on the team, Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs. But does Jack Sawyer get some attention? Maybe. On offense, who would it have been? I mean, Quinshon Judkins was on the deluxe edition a year ago. He wasn't the cover athlete of the game. That was Quinn Ewers, Travis Hunter, and Donovan Edwards. It still blows my mind that only one of those 3 guys had a season deserving that they deserve to be a cover athlete. Quinn Ewers, no. Donovan Edwards, ha! And so the fact that only one of those 3 actually had that kind of year, it's very interesting. I mean, it could be a topic we carry on throughout the rest of the week. I have no idea if we're going to or not, but it's going to make you wonder, what's going to happen? Will we get a Madden-type curse for cover athletes? And not saying injuries, but maybe just don't produce the way that you think a cover athlete would. But I have no doubt in my mind, no hesitation at all about saying that Jeremiah Smith is not projected at all to produce like that. Where there are questions in Donovan Edwards' game, in Quinn Ewers' game, I don't think you would have projected those guys to produce like they did this past year. Travis Hunter exceeded all expectations. Jeremiah Smith exceeded all expectations in year one at Ohio State. And, buddy, I can't wait to see what number 4 does in year two, wearing the scarlet and gray. Speaking of the scarlet and gray, there was a big basketball announcement recently, and in regards to Buckeyes scheduling a home and home series with a big time program. Thank you all for tapping in Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Ohio State's basketball team has done a lot of really good things recently in regards to adding guys from the portal and making some good acquisitions and hires. I still have my own thoughts about what this team is going to be in the fall. We'll share those throughout the summer leading into the 2025-2026 Buckeye basketball campaign. But in that 2025-2026 campaign, the Buckeyes will play their first portion of their home and home series with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And those of you that are Buckeye basketball diehards that love traveling around the country to watch the Buckeyes play, you're going to be very, very happy that the Buckeyes will play at Notre Dame on December 12th, 2026. The Buckeyes get the first portion of this, being the home slate for the Buckeyes. November 16th in 2025, they'll play at the Shot, and then the Purcell Pavilion will be the venue for the game in December of 2026. So if you're a Buckeye fan, maybe you're in Columbus or maybe you're in one of the surrounding states, but you still want to travel around to see some of the best basketball venues college basketball has, trust me, you'll want to go to South Bend and to go in there and see the Purcell Pavilion. I love it, though. I am a big advocate and always have been of college basketball teams scheduling tough non-conference opponents, from some of the Thanksgiving and holiday tournaments that teams play to some of the home and home series like Ohio State also plays in the CBS Sports Classic every year. I think their opponent next year is a little bit different than the 4 that are normally contractually obligated to play in that thing. But this is great. This is great for Ohio State, especially a team that's going to bring in a lot of transfers. One guy in Gabe Cupps, unfortunately, was hurt a year ago, and so he did not get to play for the Hoosiers as much as he would like. And so he's coming back home to Ohio, which is great, going to get his feet wet once again. But you want to get some of those early season tests 100% of the time. Yeah, you could get them. What Ohio State played Pitt last year in a non-con. They played a non-conference tournament where Ohio State plays some really tough teams there. Those are great. But sometimes you want some of those early season tests to be on your home court to kind of boost up your home environment and also test your team early before playing some of the Thanksgiving tournaments, some of those holiday tournaments there where teams travel all around the country. The Maui Invitational. I've never been out there. I would love to go to the Maui Invitational. The Battle for Atlantis and things of that nature. I would love to just go. Cover it? Absolutely. Be a fan? Of course. I would love to just go. I just want to go to watch some of these big time matchups. And if you can, November 16th in 2025, if you are able to go, I would highly encourage you to put this on your calendar. November 16th is a Sunday, so it does not interfere with a Buckeye football game. You get the day. Yeah, the Browns might be playing. Your favorite NFL team might be playing. Maybe the Bengals. You'll be able to try to work that thing out. But this opportunity does not come around very often. To get Notre Dame to come to the Shot, a well-respected program, a program that might be on the same trajectory as Ohio State is trying to figure some things out. And so now you're able to test yourself against a quality opponent in an atmosphere that should be a little bit better than some of the regular non-conference games that Ohio State plays in November. Go 100% go. And I don't mean to knock Ohio State fans for their lack of desire to go to, not all, some fans with their lack of desire to go to Buckeye basketball games. I understand you see the product on the court and you're saying, well, the product is poor or the product isn't up to my standard, so I don't want to go. Okay, I see how y'all are with the Browns. I see how people are with the Bengals. I see how people are with my team, the Colts. I mean, those stadiums are sold out, man. It doesn't matter if your team has 1 win, 0 wins. If they have only 2 losses, I did math with 17 games. It's kind of throwing me off there, so forgive me with that. But it doesn't matter how many losses they have. Those stadiums are still sold out. So what is it with Buckeye basketball? Is it because, well, you don't know what to expect? Is it that there are still some things up in the air with the basketball program? We're still trying to figure out how things are going to be. That's true. That's a reality. But here's also another reality. Well, they need your support. And this year could be big. Bruce Thornton, John Mobley Jr., they got Devin Royal, quality transfers. A 7-footer from Santa Clara that's not a traditional 7-footer. A little bit of a stretch 4 or stretch 5 that can pop out a little bit, shoot the 3, take you off the dribble, and yam that thing on your head. Trust me, this will not be the brand of Buckeye basketball that Ohio State had last year or in the last few years under Holtman, or really what you saw under Holtman. Holtman had some good years, don't get me wrong. But I think the level of intensity, especially on the defensive end, the ball movement will be a whole lot better and crisper than it was a year ago. There won't be I'm going to stand around and watch the guy with the basketball dribble for 15 seconds before realizing, there's only 8 seconds left on the shot clock. I might need to move. Next thing you know, there's 3, and he's throwing up a 25-footer because nobody was able to help him get the weight. No. I think the brand of basketball is going to be better. I'm not making no projections about this team, though. No, sirree, Bob. I am not going to be a guy that's going to come on this show, especially at the end of May, and sit up here and say, hey, man, so due to some of the things going on right now, I'm going to make these projections. No. Even Buckeye football. We're talking about some over-unders and some of the toughest stretches for Ohio State in the season, in their schedule. We'll do some of that. I'm healthy enough and well enough to make those types of projections. I ain't going to project some of the stuff with this basketball team because they had some performances last year that left me scratching my head and left me wondering, why is this happening over and over and over and over again? I ask myself that question. I'm sure you've asked yourself that question. I'm even sure Jake Diebler's asked himself that question as to why the Buckeyes are not only having the same result, but the product on the court is consistently not up to the standard that has been set at Ohio State. Here's another thing for the Buckeye basketball fans out there that want to raise the standard, and I think you'll like what I'm about to say. If you look all up and down Ohio State athletics, the standard is not just get by. The standard is not be above average. We'll be cool with that. The standard is win the conference and push to win a national championship. Look all over the place. Now, softball, if you think about lacrosse, think about hockey on the men's or women's side, think about soccer, tennis, think about some of these sports out there. What do you see from them over and over and over? Is a path that has been planned out for them by the coach and the other coaches for them to be successful. And it doesn't start in the season. It starts in the offseason. It starts in the recruiting process. It starts in the standard you have set for your program when you first get there. It starts there. If you think about all those programs, what are you finding? You are finding a program or programs that are keeping the standard high. For Buckeye basketball, for some reason, that's been a problem to keep the standard high. So my hope is like yours, that over the next few weeks and months, Jake Diebler does what's needed for Ohio State to raise the standard, not keep the standard where it is, because it may be a higher standard for some players, to raise the standard, to say being out of playing in the Big Ten tournament on a Friday is not acceptable. Not making the NCAA tournament isn't acceptable. Raise that standard. And this home and home that they just inked with Notre Dame One game in November of 25, which is at home in the Shot. The other one is December of 26 in the Purcell Pavilion in Notre Dame, Indiana. That right there is going to help Ohio State, one, with an early season test, but two, help them keep the standard high. I love this kind of stuff, and I'm hoping to see more of this from Ohio State over the next few weeks and months and years under Jake Diebler's leadership. Thank y'all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the portal because my guy Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the portal and Locked On Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send to every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. It's something Locked On Buckeyes right here on a hump day. We'll see you next time.